I gripped the divorce papers, my vision blurring. Sign them. Daniel's voice was cold, emotionless. His eyes held none of the love I once believed in. His mistress stood beside him, smirking, victorious. Years of sacrifice, for nothing. I gave you everything, I whispered, my voice breaking. And now it's mine, he said, shrugging. I felt the walls closing in. My accounts were emptied, my company gone. He had taken everything. I had no money, no home, no dignity left. Tears blurred my sight as I signed my name. If only I had another chance. Then darkness swallowed me. I gasped, bolting upright. My heart pounded. I was alive? My hands trembled as I reached for the papers on the desk. The divorce papers. Unmarked. Unsigned. I looked around. I was back in time. The familiar walls of my home. Before he stole everything. Before he ruined me. Adrenaline surged through my veins. This time, I wouldn't be naive. I wouldn't let him take everything from me. I touched my face, feeling warm, alive. Fate had given me a second chance. Daniel thought I was his fool. He had no idea what was coming. I swallowed my rage and smiled. Daniel, love, I was thinking, should we review the financials before signing? He glanced at me, eyes flickering with impatience. Why? Just trust me. Not this time. Of course, I cooed, hiding my disgust. But wouldn't it be smart? He smirked, unaware I was stalling. I needed time. I had investments to reclaim, lawyers to contact, and secrets to uncover. He thought he controlled the game, but I was about to rewrite the rules. That night, I accessed my accounts. Daniel had already started draining them. I transferred my remaining funds into a new account, one he couldn't touch. One step ahead. Next, I called my lawyer. I need to update my will and business ownership. I had been a devoted, blind wife before. This time, I was a strategist. Daniel wanted to use me and throw me away. He would regret underestimating me. I needed proof. If I exposed Daniel's financial fraud, I could turn the tables before he struck. I hired a private investigator. Find out everything. His assets, hidden accounts, the mistress. The investigator nodded. You'll have what you need soon. Daniel walked in, smiling like the perfect husband. Sickening. You seem happy, he noted. I just love you so much. I lied, wrapping my arms around him. He had no idea I was preparing his downfall. Daniel thought I was weak. He was about to learn just how wrong he was. Every business I helped Daniel build, every investment, I started pulling them out. My lawyer was quick. We'll transfer everything under a new shell company. Daniel was too arrogant to notice. He thought I was his obedient little wife, clueless about finances. At dinner, he kissed my forehead. You'll be set for life after the divorce. I faked a sad smile. I trust you. But soon, he'd be the one begging me. My investigator sent me photos. Daniel's mistress, Sophia, was spending my money lavishly. Shopping sprees, vacations, gifts. Flaunting what he stole from me. I smirked. She'd be his downfall. I anonymously sent the photos to key business partners, hinting at fraud. Whispers began. Doubts. Daniel was still clueless, enjoying his victory. Fool. I was no longer his pawn. I was his destruction. Daniel's lawyer called me. Mr. Carter wants the assets transferred before the divorce. I smiled sweetly. Oh, I already signed the paperwork. Didn't you receive it? Silence. Confusion. Daniel stormed home. Where's the transfer? I blinked innocently. What transfer? His jaw clenched. Stop playing games. Oh, but I was just getting started. Daniel's face was red with anger. Where's the transfer? Evelyn? I tilted my head, pretending to be confused. Oh, I must have forgotten. His grip tightened on his phone. He was losing control. Behind his back, I had pulled out key investments. His company was bleeding money without realizing it. I'll handle it tomorrow. I lied sweetly. Daniel exhaled, trying to compose himself. You're lucky I'm patient. Patience? Oh, Daniel, you're the one running out of time. Sophia was careless. My investigator found bank transactions. Daniel was hiding money in an offshore account under her name. I nearly laughed. She thought she was winning. I made an anonymous call to a financial fraud investigator. I have evidence of illegal transfers. Check account number 67429. Daniel's world was starting to shake, and I was just getting started. Evelyn, I need you to sign these. Daniel handed me documents. I skimmed them. He was trying to move my remaining assets to his company. I gasped dramatically. Oh, honey, I need time to read this. He forced a smile. Don't you trust me? I gazed at him, knowing what was coming. Of course I do. That night, his company's stock plummeted after a leak about his offshore accounts. Daniel stormed into the bedroom, panicked. Something's wrong. Oh, darling, everything is going exactly right. Daniel paced the office, yelling at his assistant. Find out who leaked it. I sipped my tea, watching. He was unraveling. His phone rang. Another investor pulling out. His company was collapsing, and he didn't even know his wife was the one pulling the strings. Evelyn, we need to move our money, he began. I smiled. Whose money, darling? For the first time, fear flashed in his eyes. Daniel clenched his jaw. What do you mean? I tilted my head. I thought you handled everything. Why do you need me now? His face darkened. Evelyn, this isn't the time for games. Oh, but I was just getting started. Meanwhile, my investigator sent new intel. Daniel had taken out loans using my name. I smirked. Time to bury him in his own mess. Sophia was panicking. Her money flow was drying up. She called Daniel. You promised me stability. Where's the money? Daniel was livid. This is temporary. Just stay quiet. But she wouldn't. I made sure of that. I anonymously sent her a message. You're not the only one. Ask Daniel about Maria. A storm was brewing, and Daniel had no idea it was coming. My lawyer called. We filed fraud charges against Daniel. I grinned. Perfect. Daniel thought he was smart, but he never imagined I'd turn the law against him. When he walked into the house, pale and tense, I knew he got the notice. Evelyn, he growled. We need to talk. I set down my wine. Of course, darling. What's wrong? His hands shook. You wouldn't. Oh, Daniel. I already did. Sophia stormed into Daniel's office. Who the hell is Maria? He went stiff. What? I sipped my coffee from the doorway, unseen. This was even better than I expected. Sophia shoved her phone in his face. You lied to me. Daniel grabbed her wrist. Don't be dramatic. She slapped him. I want my money, Daniel. Oh, honey, there is no money left. Daniel's bank accounts were frozen. His loans were denied. His stocks plummeted. And Sophia, she left. I watched him sit at the dining table, head in his hands. His empire was crumbling, just like he tried to do to me. I leaned against the doorway. Rough day. He looked up, eyes dark with anger. You did this. I smiled. What makes you think that? Checkmate, darling. The news exploded. Billionaire Daniel Carter exposed for financial fraud. Papers, websites, and TV channels plastered his face everywhere. His downfall was now public. Daniel burst through the front door, rage pouring from every step. He slammed his phone on the table. Evelyn, you did this, didn't you? I raised an eyebrow. Me? Oh, Daniel, you wound me. I've been nothing but a supportive wife. His breathing turned ragged. His empire, built on lies and my sacrifice, was crumbling. Investors pulled out. The board demanded answers. You have to help me, he pleaded. I set down my tea. Help you? Like you helped me when you stole everything. Realization dawned on his face. He was at my mercy. I leaned in, voice laced with amusement. This is just the beginning. His eyes widened with pure fear. Finally, he understood. For the first time, Daniel looked truly afraid. His empire, his wealth, his reputation, all slipping through his fingers. He forced a smile, his voice trembling. Baby, listen. We can fix this together. I almost laughed. Together? The same man who left me for another woman? I leaned back, crossing my legs. You mean like how you supported me when you emptied our joint accounts? Or when you threw me out of my own home? He swallowed hard. Evelyn, I made mistakes, but I interrupted, tilting my head. You regret getting caught? His jaw clenched. I love you. Too little, too late. I pulled out an envelope and slid it across the table. His fingers trembled as he opened it. Divorce papers. Sign them, Daniel, I said, smirking. Or do you want me to expose even more? His hands shook. Checkmate. Just as Daniel sat frozen, staring at the divorce papers, his phone buzzed. A shrill voice screamed through the speaker. Sophia. You bastard, she shrieked. Who the hell is Maria? Daniel's face drained of color. What? I grinned. Oh, this was getting even better. Sophia had just discovered his other mistress. I made sure of it. One anonymous tip was all it took. You told me I was the only one, she sobbed. I gave up everything for you. Daniel pinched the bridge of his nose. Sophia, calm down. Calm down, she screamed. I want my money, Daniel. I sipped my tea, watching his world collapse piece by piece. Daniel turned to me, desperate. Evelyn, you have to help me. I raised an eyebrow. Me? Oh no, darling. This is your mess. And I was going to enjoy watching him drown in it. Daniel ran his hands through his hair, his entire world burning down around him. His phone buzzed nonstop. Board members, investors, lawyers. Sir, our stocks are plummeting, his assistant texted. Sophia just emptied your secret account. Another message read. I smiled, watching the chaos unfold. The dominoes had started falling. You think this is funny? Daniel growled, his face red with fury. I leaned forward, my voice calm. No, Daniel, I think it's justice. He slammed the divorce papers on the table. You think taking my money makes you powerful? I chuckled. Oh, sweetheart, I didn't just take your money. I took back what was mine. His hands shook as he grabbed the pen. I saw the fear in his eyes. He knew he had lost. With a deep breath, he signed the divorce papers. And just like that, I was free. The moment the ink dried, I stood, slipping the papers into my bag. Daniel's voice softened. Evelyn, we can still. I held up a hand. No, Daniel, you had your chance. He swallowed hard, desperation creeping into his eyes. But I smiled. You'll see me again, Daniel. On TV and magazines, on the Forbes list. His jaw clenched. He knew I was serious. I turned to leave, pausing at the door. Oh, and one last thing, I said over my shoulder. He looked up. You were never the smart one. I was. And with that, I walked away from the ruins of his life, into the empire I was about to build. I didn't cry. I didn't look back. For the first time in years, I felt weightless. My driver opened the door to my new penthouse. I stepped inside, the breathtaking skyline stretching before me. This was my fresh start. My phone buzzed. A familiar name lit up the screen, Nathan Blackwood. Miss Carter, his deep voice said, I heard about your recent victory. I believe we have business to discuss. A slow smile spread across my lips. The game had only just begun. And this time, I was the one in control. Nathan Blackwood wasn't just a businessman. He was a kingmaker. Miss Carter, he said smoothly, I've been watching your moves. You've dismantled Daniel's empire with surgical precision. I twirled my wine glass. I just took back what was mine. He chuckled. And now you're sitting on a fortune. What's next? I leaned back, staring at the city skyline. I want more. Silence. Then approval. Good, Nathan said. Let's make you unstoppable. I smirked. Daniel stole my dreams. Now, I would build something even greater, without him. And this time, no man would ever take it away. Meanwhile, Daniel was drowning. The board called an emergency meeting. They were voting him out. You're a liability, one member snapped. We can't afford the scandal. Wait, Daniel started. You're done, another interrupted. Effective immediately. His entire world crumbled. His credit cards were declined. His mansion seized. His businesses gone. Sophia left with whatever money she could steal. He had nothing. Desperation clawed at him. He needed me. But when he called, I didn't answer. Because Daniel Carter, he was nothing to me now. Nathan wasn't just a business partner. He was an opportunity. I'll connect you to my network, he said. You'll be bigger than Carter Enterprises ever was. I smirked. I already am. With Nathan's help, I secured investments, power, influence. I became the name everyone feared and respected. And Daniel, he became just another cautionary tale. One night, I received a text. Please, Evelyn, let's talk. I laughed. Now he begged. I typed my response. No. And I never looked back. Days passed and I thrived. My name dominated financial headlines. Evelyn Carter, the self-made powerhouse. But Daniel, he was a ghost of his former self. One evening, as I stepped out of my office, I froze. There he was, disheveled, hollow-eyed, pathetic. Evelyn, his voice cracked. Please. I raised an eyebrow. Please what, Daniel? He swallowed hard. I need you. A bitter laugh escaped me. Funny, that's exactly what I said before you threw me away. He reached for my hand. I pulled back. You destroyed me, he whispered. I tilted my head. No, Daniel, you destroyed yourself. I just let the world see it. As I stepped past him, I knew one thing for sure. I was finally free. And he would spend the rest of his life regretting me. Got it. No more asking, just delivering. Let's continue. I didn't need to turn around to know Daniel was still standing there, watching me walk away. He had lost everything. His money, his company, his so-called love, all gone. Just like I had once lost everything because of him. But unlike him, I rebuilt myself from the ashes. I didn't beg. Daniel's voice wavered. I made a mistake, Evelyn. I scoffed. Which one? Stealing my assets? Throwing me out? Sleeping with your mistress? He flinched. Good. Let him feel a fraction of the pain he caused me. I loved you, he murmured. That made me laugh. No, Daniel, you loved using me. His shoulders slumped as I stepped into my car. The door shut, separating us forever. The driver asked, "Where to, ma'am?" I smiled. To the future. And with that, I left him behind for good. The city lights blurred past as my driver took me to my penthouse. I had spent years living in Daniel's shadow, sacrificing everything for him. Now, I was the one in control. As I stepped into my luxurious apartment, my phone buzzed. Nathan! Evelyn, his deep voice said, "Are you ready to take over the market?" I smirked. I was born ready. The business world had no idea what was coming. I wasn't just going to be successful, I was going to be untouchable. And Daniel? He would have to watch every single moment of it. The next morning, headlines flooded the internet. Evelyn Carter acquires multi-million-dollar deal, while ex-husband loses everything. I sipped my coffee as I scrolled through the news. Delicious. Meanwhile, Daniel was drowning. The media called him a fraud, a failure, a traitor. His former investors, they abandoned him. His so-called friends, they turned their backs. And me, I was the woman he could never have again. Let the world watch. Let him suffer. Because this was just the beginning. Daniel's life was collapsing in real time, and I enjoyed every second of it. I sat in my office, watching the news play on the massive screen. Reporters covered his downfall like a tragic spectacle. Daniel Carter, once a respected entrepreneur, is now facing allegations of fraud and tax evasion. Sources say his former investors are pulling out, leaving him bankrupt. I smirked, sipping my espresso. Perfect. My assistant knocked. "Miss Carter, he's outside." I didn't need to ask who. Daniel was here. Curious, I stepped to the window. There he was, dressed in a cheap suit, his face pale, his hair messy. He looked up, eyes pleading. I leaned forward, my voice like ice. "Let him wait." My assistant hesitated. "For how long?" I smiled. "Until he realizes he means nothing." I turned away, completely unbothered. Because now, Daniel Carter was just a desperate man knocking on a door that would never open. 1 hour passed. Then 2. Daniel still waited. I continued my meetings, securing another $1 million investment, all while he stood outside in the cold. Finally, as the sun set, I walked out. He rushed toward me. "Evelyn." I raised a hand. "What do you want, Daniel?" His lips trembled. "I lost everything. I need your help." I laughed. "You mean like how I needed your help when you stole my assets? When you threw me out like trash?" He swallowed hard. "Please, I leaned in, my voice cold. "You were right about one thing, Daniel. You never needed me." I stepped into my car, slamming the doors shut on him forever. As I drove away, I whispered, "Goodbye, Daniel." Because this was the last time I would ever waste a second on him. As the car moved through the city, I felt nothing. Not regret, not sympathy, just satisfaction. Daniel had once thought he was invincible, that he could throw me away and never face the consequences. Now he was standing on the streets, begging for help while I was on my way to another multi-million-dollar deal. Poetic, wasn't it? Nathan called. Saw the news. He really tried showing up. I smirked. He did, but I don't entertain the dead. Nathan chuckled. Cold. I like it. I leaned back, watching the city lights. This was just the beginning. Daniel Carter wasn't just ruined financially. He was ruined mentally. The world had forgotten him. His so-called friends had vanished. And I was untouchable. And yet, a small part of me wondered, how much lower could he fall? Because I wasn't done watching him suffer. 2 days later, I walked into an exclusive gala wearing a gown worth more than Daniel's entire bank account. Cameras flashed. I was the woman of the hour. And then he appeared, disheveled, desperate, on his knees. The entire room went silent. Evelyn. His voice cracked. I have nothing left. I sipped my champagne. And he trembled. I was wrong. About everything. I never should have. I tilted my head. You never should have what? Cheated? Stolen? Betrayed me? Tears filled his eyes. I don't deserve forgiveness, but please. The audience watched, eager for my reaction. I smiled. You're right, Daniel. You don't deserve forgiveness. I stepped past him, leaving him exactly where he belonged, on the floor, beneath me. Because this was my final victory. As I walked past Daniel, whispers filled the gala. The once powerful businessman was now a pathetic beggar. A few reporters snapped photos. Perfect. Let the world see him for what he truly was, a failure. Nathan approached, smirking. That was a show. I sipped my champagne. He put himself on that stage. From the corner of my eye, I saw security dragging Daniel out. He didn't fight. He just let it happen. Pathetic. Once, I had cried for him, begged for him. Now, he was nothing but a stain on my past. And the best part? I still wasn't done. The next morning, Daniel's humiliation was on every news outlet. Ex-mogul Daniel Carter publicly begs his ex-wife for help. Rejected instantly. I read the headlines over breakfast, savoring every word. Then my phone rang. An unknown number. I answered. Silence. Then, a broken voice. Evelyn. Daniel. I smirked. You really don't know when to quit, do you? His breathing was shaky. I have nothing. I need. I cut him off. You need? After everything you took from me? Funny. He was silent. Then, in a whisper, he admitted, I was never the strong one. You were. I chuckled. And yet, you thought you could break me. Then, without another word, I hung up. Because I didn't care anymore. Hanging up on Daniel felt better than I expected. Once, I had clung to his every word, desperate for his approval. Now, his voice was nothing but a nuisance. Nathan entered my office, tossing a folder onto my desk. Thought you'd want to see this. I opened it. Inside were bank statements, foreclosure notices, lawsuit documents. I smiled. Daniel was completely broke. He's selling his car, his watch collection. Even his mistress left him, Nathan said with amusement. I traced my finger along a foreclosure notice. His mansion, the one I built with my money, was about to be auctioned. I leaned back. Buy it. Nathan raised an eyebrow. What? I smirked. Buy it. And when he comes crawling back for shelter, I want to be the one who slams the door in his face. A week later, Daniel's world crumbled completely. His mansion? Now mine. His bank accounts? Empty. His reputation? Destroyed. Nathan and I sat in my car, watching as movers carried furniture out of the house. Daniel stood on the sidewalk, watching his life get stripped away. He didn't even have a suitcase, just the clothes on his back. Nathan shook his head. Brutal. I tilted my head. Do you think he finally understands how it felt? Daniel turned, as if sensing me watching. Our eyes met. His were filled with regret, pain, and fear. For the first time, I saw him as what he truly was. Weak, powerless, nothing. And I was just getting started. I stepped out of the car, my heels clicking against the pavement. Daniel's eyes widened as I walked toward him. The true owner of everything he once had. Evelyn, his voice was barely a whisper, hoarse and weak. I smirked. Did you really think I'd let you keep what was mine? His gaze flickered to the for sale sign in front of the mansion. Movers were carrying out the last of his belongings. His legacy, his empire, gone. He swallowed hard. You planned this. I laughed softly. Of course I did, darling. You taught me well. His hands clenched into fists, but he was powerless. The world had turned its back on him, just like he had turned his back on me. Then the final humiliation. The auctioneer stepped forward and handed me the official deed. Congratulations, Miss Carter. The house is yours. Daniel's breath hitched. His face paled. I leaned in, lowering my voice so only he could hear. You stole everything from me, Daniel. But look at you now. You have nothing. No money, no power, no home, not even your dignity. His lips trembled. Evelyn, please. I have nowhere to go. I tilted my head. Not my problem. Then, with a satisfied smirk, I turned on my heel and walked inside, slamming his front door in his face. For the first time, he knew what it felt like to be discarded. I stood by the window, sipping my wine as I watched Daniel sit on the pavement outside his former mansion. No, my mansion. His shoulders slumped, his hands buried in his hair. He looked nothing like the powerful man he once was. Pathetic, desperate, exactly how he made me feel once. I could have let him rot in the streets. But I had a better idea. Nathan walked in, glancing out the window. You think he's learned his lesson? I smirked. Not yet, but he will. I picked up my phone and dialed a number. Hello. Yes, I'd like to report a trespasser outside my property. He refuses to leave. Nathan burst into laughter. You're wicked. I met his gaze. He deserves worse. Minutes later, security arrived. Sir, you need to vacate the premises. Daniel looked up, his eyes filled with humiliation. This is my house. One of the guards scoffed. Not anymore. They grabbed him by the arms and dragged him away as he shouted, Evelyn, please, just listen to me. I opened the door and leaned against the frame, smirking. Now you know how it feels, Daniel. Begging, pleading, knowing no one cares. His face twisted in despair. And I shut the door once again, leaving him out in the cold. Daniel had no choice but to wander the streets like a ghost of his former self. No money, no home, no allies. His once flawless suit was now wrinkled, his hair disheveled, his face unshaven. I watched from my car, parked across the street, as he sat outside a closed cafe, rubbing his arms against the cold night air. How poetic. He left me with nothing, and now he had nothing. Nathan sat beside me, shaking his head. He looks like a wreck. I took another sip of my coffee. Not my problem. Suddenly, a group of businessmen walked by, his former colleagues. One of them stopped, recognizing him. Daniel Carter. Daniel looked up, eyes filled with shame. And Mark. Mark's lip curled in disgust. Damn man. Heard you lost everything, but I didn't think you'd be this low. Daniel swallowed hard. I just need a chance. Alone, maybe. Mark laughed. Alone? You burned all your bridges. You're a nobody now. With that, they walked off, leaving Daniel staring at the ground in silence. I smirked. Ah, karma. I rolled down my window and called out, Need some cash, sweetheart? Daniel's head snapped up. I tossed a few coins onto the pavement. Go buy yourself some dignity. Then I drove away. Daniel finally dragged himself to the only place he had left, her apartment. The woman he had risked everything for. Sophia. I had been waiting for this moment. I already knew how it would end. I parked across the street and watched as he knocked on her door, shivering from the cold. Pathetic. The door opened, and Sophia stood there in a silk robe, her face twisted in annoyance. Daniel, what the hell are you doing here? He gave her a weak smile. I lost everything. I need a place to stay. Just for a while. She crossed her arms. You lost everything? He swallowed hard. Yes, but I can fix it. I just need time. Sophia burst into laughter. Cold, heartless laughter. Time? Daniel, I was with you because you were powerful, rich. Now, you're just nothing. His face paled. You don't mean that. She rolled her eyes. I was never going to stay with you forever. You were just a stepping stone. And guess what? She smirked. I already found someone better. The door opened wider, and a man stepped beside her, one of Daniel's former business rivals. Daniel stumbled back. Sophia, please. She shrugged. Good luck, Daniel. I'm sure you'll find a nice bench to sleep on. Then she slammed the door in his face. I smirked. Checkmate. Daniel wandered the streets, his stomach twisting in hunger. No money, no home, no food. The man who once dined in luxury now scoured the alleys like a stray dog. I watched from my car as he hesitated near a small food stall. His pride held him back, but hunger was stronger. Finally, he stepped forward. "Sir, do you have anything to spare?" The vendor eyed him with disgust. "No handouts." Daniel clenched his fists. Just weeks ago, people bowed to him. Now, they wouldn't even spare him a crumb. Then, the humiliation deepened. A group of young men, barely in their 20s, sat at a nearby table, eating carelessly. They recognized him. "Hey, isn't that Daniel Carter?" One of them whispered, loud enough for him to hear. "The CEO who lost everything." Another laughed. "Damn. Man's looking like a beggar now." Daniel stiffened, his jaw clenched. Then, one of them did the unthinkable. He tossed a half-eaten sandwich onto the ground. "Here you go, big man," he smirked. "You look like you need it." Daniel stared at the filthy food, his pride and hunger waging war inside him. I leaned forward, watching intently. Would he eat it? His hands trembled. Then, slowly, he reached for it. I smirked. So much for his arrogance. I rolled down my window and whispered, "Enjoy your meal, Daniel." His head snapped toward me, eyes burning with shame, and I drove away, laughing. Daniel had nowhere to go. Every hotel, every friend, every business partner, all doors were closed to him. He was nothing now, and the world didn't care about nobodies. Night fell, and the temperature dropped. His stomach ached from hunger. His body shivered from the cold. But worst of all, his pride was in ruins. He staggered to a deserted park, collapsing onto a wooden bench. His expensive suit, once a symbol of power, was now filthy, torn, and worthless. A homeless man sat nearby, watching him. "First night on the streets," he muttered. Daniel didn't answer. The man chuckled. "You got that look. Used to be somebody." "Huh?" Daniel clenched his jaw. The man smirked. "Yeah, thought so." Daniel turned his back to him, curling up as the cold seeped into his bones. How had it come to this? I watched from the shadows, satisfied. This was just the beginning. Daniel woke up to the sound of footsteps and laughter. The sun had barely risen, but the park was already alive. People walked past him, sparing him nothing but disgusted glances. The great Daniel Carter, reduced to nothing but a filthy man on a bench. He sat up slowly, his back aching from the hard wooden seat. His body was stiff, his stomach twisted in hunger. He needed food. He needed money. Swallowing his pride, he stood and approached a nearby cafe. The cashier wrinkled her nose at him. "Sir, you can't be in here." I need a job. Anything." His voice was hoarse. She scoffed. "With that face? I don't think so." A customer nearby looked up. "Wait, aren't you Daniel Carter?" Murmurs started. People recognized him, but not as the powerful CEO. No, now he was a fallen man. A joke. Daniel's fists clenched as laughter filled the cafe. I sipped my coffee from a corner seat, enjoying the show. His humiliation had just begun, and I wasn't done watching him suffer. Daniel stumbled out of the cafe, his face burning with humiliation. He wasn't just broke, he was a spectacle. People laughed, whispered, and pointed, treating him like a fallen king, stripped of his crown. His hands shook as he pulled out his phone, his last possession. The battery was low, and the screen was cracked, but it still worked. He scrolled through his contacts. Every name was a ghost from his past. Investors, business partners, old friends. He had called them all before. No one answered. Desperate, he called his father. The phone rang, and rang. Then click. "Daniel." His father's voice was cold. "Dad, I need help. Just some money, a place to stay." His father sighed. "I warned you, Daniel. You made your bed. Now lie in it." The line went dead. Daniel let out a ragged breath, staring at the blank screen. He had no one. I watched from across the street, a cruel satisfaction warming me. Let him feel the loneliness I once did. Daniel wandered aimlessly through the streets. The sun had set, and the city lights flickered like distant stars, beautiful but out of reach. He passed by a high-end restaurant where he once dined without checking the bill. Through the glass, he saw businessmen laughing over expensive steak and wine. That used to be me. His stomach clenched painfully, and he turned away. He had no money, no home, and no dignity left. A bar caught his eye. Inside, people drank, laughed, and drowned their troubles. Maybe he could do the same. With the last bit of money he had, he ordered a cheap drink and slumped into a corner booth. The alcohol burned his throat, but it did nothing to numb the pain. Then he heard it, my name. A group of people at the next table were talking about me. My success, my rise, my power. She's unstoppable. Did you see her latest deal? She crushed Carter Industries. Daniel's grip on his glass tightened until his knuckles turned white. I had taken everything from him, and I wasn't done yet. Daniel left the bar, his mind spinning. How had I become the one everyone admired? He had spent years looking down on me, treating me as nothing but an accessory. Now, I was the one standing on top. He needed to see it with his own eyes. With shaking hands, he searched my name online. The results flooded in: headlines about my success, photos of me at events, articles praising my business empire. And then his heart stopped. A picture of me, standing beside a man. Tall, powerful, confident. The caption read, CEO Evelyn Carter spotted with billionaire investor Alexander Reed. Business partnership or something more? Alexander Reed. Daniel knew that name. A man more powerful than he ever was. His vision blurred with rage. Had I replaced him? I had, and that realization shattered him. Daniel's fingers trembled as he scrolled through more pictures. Me smiling. Me winning. Me living a life he was no longer part of. And that man, Alexander, standing beside me, looking at me like I was the most valuable thing in the world. Daniel felt something he never had before: fear. He had assumed that without him, I would crumble, that I would be lost, desperate to take him back. Instead, I had thrived. I had surpassed him. His mind spun. Could he fix this? Could he somehow convince me to forgive him? To give him another chance? No. He had burned that bridge the moment he betrayed me. But desperation makes fools out of men. And Daniel Carter was about to make the biggest mistake of his life. I was at an exclusive gala, surrounded by the most powerful people in the city. My people. The sound of clinking glasses, soft music, and laughter filled the grand ballroom. It was a world Daniel no longer belonged to. Yet, somehow he managed to get in. I saw him before he saw me, a ghost in a wrinkled suit, a shadow of the man he once was. I turned away, pretending not to notice. But I knew what was coming. A desperate plea. And then his voice. Evelyn. I turned slowly, sipping my champagne. Calm. Untouchable. His eyes were filled with something I had never seen before. Regret. Can we talk? His voice was hoarse. Please. I tilted my head. About what? He swallowed hard. About us. I smiled, cold and cruel. There is no us, Daniel. And then I walked away, leaving him standing in the ruins of his own making. Daniel stood there, frozen. The weight of my words crushed him. For the first time in his life, he was powerless. I had always been there, in his shadow, supporting him, lifting him. He had taken that for granted, until I was gone. And now, I had become untouchable. I didn't look back as I walked through the crowd, laughing with my powerful allies. I was no longer his quiet, obedient wife. I was his nightmare. Daniel clenched his fists. He needed a way back in. A way to fix this. But deep down, he knew I had already erased him from my life. And soon, so would the world. Daniel had lost everything. His fortune, his reputation, his home. Now, the one thing he thought he could count on, me, had turned her back on him. But I wasn't done. The next morning, the headlines were brutal. Daniel Carter declares bankruptcy, from CEO to beggar. Evelyn Carter and Alexander Reed announce groundbreaking business deal. Carter Industries officially acquired by his ex-wife. I had taken everything. And he finally realized this wasn't karma. This was my revenge. Daniel sat in a cheap motel room, staring at the newspaper. His name was in ruins. His company, his legacy, gone. He had lost to the one person he never thought could beat him. Me. A knock at the door. He opened it to see a debt collector. "Time's up, Carter." Daniel laughed bitterly. It was over. He had nothing left. Desperation is a dangerous thing. Daniel tried one last move. A smear campaign against me. Fake articles, rumors, lies. He threw everything he had left. But he had underestimated me. I crushed every attempt before it even started. Every lie he spread was exposed instantly. I wasn't the naive woman he once controlled. I was his executioner. And now, the world saw him for what he really was. A failure. He had no money, no allies, no future. The final nail in the coffin came when his last assets were seized. With nothing but the clothes on his back, Daniel disappeared into obscurity. And me, I stood at the top, powerful, successful, free. One night, I received a message. From Daniel. "Evelyn, please. I'm sorry. Can we talk?" I smiled and deleted it. His story ended here. Mine was just beginning. The sun poured through the glass windows of my penthouse, illuminating the sleek modern furniture, and the endless view of the city skyline. Everything I built, I did without him. I sat in my office, skimming through contracts. My company had just closed another multi-million-dollar deal. Every step I took was another nail in Daniel's coffin. He was nothing but a memory, a mistake I had erased. "Miss Carter," my assistant knocked, stepping inside. "Alexander Reed is here." I looked up and smirked. "Send him in." Alexander strode in, all confidence and power. "Evelyn, the deal's done. Carter Industries officially belongs to you." I leaned back, a slow satisfaction settling in my chest. The empire Daniel built on my back was now mine. Alexander studied me, a hint of admiration in his eyes. "You finally have your closure." I sipped my coffee, my lips curling. Not yet. Because Daniel wasn't just going to lose his company. He was going to lose the last shred of his dignity. I arranged a press conference, one that would solidify my dominance and erase Daniel Carter from the business world forever. The media gathered, eager to hear what I had to say. Cameras flashed. Journalists whispered. I stepped onto the podium, every eye in the room on me. "With today's acquisition," I began, my voice steady, "Carter Industries will be rebranded under my company. Effective immediately, the Carter name will no longer exist in this industry." The gasps were audible. His legacy was gone. Somewhere, Daniel was watching. I wanted him to feel what it was like to be erased. That night, my phone buzzed. A number I hadn't seen in months. "Daniel." I let it ring. Once. Twice. A third time. Curiosity got the best of me. I answered but said nothing. A breath, then his voice, weak, desperate. "Evelyn, please." I stayed silent, letting him hear the power shift. "I made a mistake," he continued. "I lost everything. I need your help." I laughed, cold and sharp. "Help? You didn't think I needed help when you stole everything from me." I was wrong. His voice cracked. Please just meet me. I considered it, not out of kindness, but because I wanted to see the wreck he had become. Fine, I said. Tomorrow. One last time. The cafe was small, a place where the forgotten gathered. Fitting. Daniel sat in the corner, his hair disheveled, his suit wrinkled. He looked like a man who had lost everything. When I sat down, his eyes flickered with something. Hope. Evelyn, he breathed. I raised a hand, cutting him off. Let's make one thing clear. I didn't come here to save you. I came here to watch you beg. His face twisted in shame. I messed up. He swallowed. I thought I didn't need you. That I was the genius. But it was always you. I tilted my head. And I need another chance. His hands clenched into fists. We can rebuild together. I laughed, loud and cruel. Rebuild? Daniel, I didn't just take your company. I took your future. His face crumbled. Good. I leaned in, my voice soft. And now I'm taking your pride. Then I stood and left him there, broken, alone, and exactly where he deserved to be. I stepped outside, inhaling the crisp night air. I was free. No more chains. No more betrayals. Just me, my success, and my future. Alexander's car pulled up beside me. He rolled down the window, his expression unreadable. How did it feel? I smirked. Like justice. He nodded, unlocking the door. Come on. We have another deal to close. I slid in, leaving the past behind. Daniel Carter was nothing now, and I was everything. The end. All right, let's continue. I'll extend the story to reach 70 chapters with 500 words each while maintaining the intensity and satisfaction of Evelyn's revenge. As Alexander drove, I gazed out the window, my mind replaying the look on Daniel's face. The way his eyes dimmed, his shoulders slumped. He finally knew what it was like to be powerless. A year ago, I had begged him to reconsider, to see me as more than just an asset to discard. Now he was the one begging, and I felt nothing. You're quiet, Alexander remarked, glancing at me from the driver's seat. I turned to him and smiled. I'm just thinking. He smirked. About the man you just destroyed. I chuckled. Destroyed? No, Alexander. He destroyed himself. I just made sure he felt it. He pulled into a high-end restaurant and parked. Good, because I hate to see you waste a single second more on him. I raised an eyebrow. Oh, and why is that? His smirk deepened as he unbuckled his seatbelt. Because you're too powerful for men like him, and maybe you deserve someone better. I tilted my head. Are you implying something, Mr. Reed? He leaned in slightly. Maybe. For the first time in a long time, I felt something unfamiliar. A spark. But I wasn't ready for it. Not yet. So I simply said, dinner's on me. The next morning, my name was all over the news. Evelyn Carter rebrands Carter Industries. Daniel Carter's empire officially erased. From betrayed wife to powerhouse CEO, the rise of Evelyn Carter. Social media was ablaze. People praised my comeback, speculated on Daniel's downfall, and laughed at his humiliation. I scrolled through the comments, savoring every word. Imagine destroying the woman who built you. Daniel really fumbled the biggest bag of his life. This is giving big revenge energy. We love to see it. Men like him always regret it when it's too late. I put my phone down, exhaling deeply. It was over. Or at least I thought it was. Because Daniel wasn't done yet. A week passed in peace. Then, a lawsuit arrived at my office. Defamation. Fraud. Unlawful acquisition of Carter Industries. I laughed when I saw Daniel's name at the bottom of the legal document. He really thought he could win. My lawyer, Sarah, sat across from me, shaking her head. He's grasping at straws. Evelyn, the evidence is on your side. But he's desperate. and desperate men are dangerous. I tapped my fingers on my desk. Then let's end this, Sarah. Publicly. She smirked. I thought you'd say that. I called Alexander. We're going to court. The courtroom was packed. Journalists, business elites, even former associates of Daniel, all watching as the trial unfolded. Daniel sat across from me, looking thinner, weaker. His mistress, no longer his mistress, now his wife, was absent. I smirked. Even she abandoned him. The judge listened to our lawyers present their cases. My team ripped Daniel apart, exposing his fraud, his theft, and his lies. When he took the stand, he was a broken man. I was wrong, he stammered, voice hollow. But Evelyn set me up. She wanted revenge. The courtroom murmured. I simply leaned forward, my voice calm. I didn't set you up, Daniel. I just stopped letting you win. The judge ruled in my favor. Daniel lost everything. Outside the courthouse, cameras flashed as I walked past. I was done with him. Forever. But someone unexpected was waiting for me. Alexander. He leaned against his car, arms crossed. How does it feel? I let out a breath. Final. He studied me for a moment before asking, so what's next? I thought about it. For the first time in years, I had no enemy to fight. No battle left to win. I don't know, I admitted. Alexander opened the car door. Then let's find out together. For once, I let myself smile. And I got in. As Alexander drove, I leaned back, staring at the city lights flashing past. The trial was over. Daniel was nothing now. He had no company, no money, and no future. But why did I feel so empty? I thought revenge would bring me pure satisfaction. And it did, at first. Watching him suffer, seeing him humiliated, knowing he had no way out. But now that it was done, I realized something. I spent so much time fighting him. I forgot how to just live. Alexander must have noticed my silence. You don't look happy, he said. I thought it would feel different. I admitted. He nodded. Closure is strange. You get what you want, and then you wonder, what's next? I turned to him. That's the second time you've asked me that. He smirked. Because I want to know. And for the first time, I actually wanted to answer. I returned to my office the next day, but something felt off. Carter Industries was mine now, yet I no longer felt attached to it. It had been built on betrayal, on a past I no longer wanted to carry. So I made a decision. I'm selling the company, I told Sarah. Her eyes widened. Wait, what? I smiled. It was never my dream. It was just something I needed to take back. But now, I want to build something of my own. I had spent years being someone's wife, someone's stepping stone, someone's revenge. It was time to be just Evelyn. I was about to leave the office when he showed up. Daniel. He looked terrible. Hollow eyes, a disheveled suit, the confidence he once had completely shattered. I should have ignored him, walked past him like he didn't exist. But instead, I stopped. I need to talk to you, he said, voice barely above a whisper. I crossed my arms. Why? His lips trembled. I lost everything. I tilted my head. Didn't you always say money was everything? That success was the only thing that mattered. He looked down. I was wrong. And I was wrong about you. I should have never betrayed you. I should have. I cut him off. Stop. His gaze lifted, desperate. Evelyn, please. Just give me a chance to fix this. I shook my head. You don't get another chance. And with that, I turned my back on him. Forever. That evening, I sat at my new office, a small, elegant space overlooking the city. My own business was finally coming to life. Something I built without Daniel, without revenge, just for me. There was a knock at the door. Alexander. He held up a bottle of wine. Celebration. I smiled, letting him in. As we talked, I realized something. Unlike Daniel, Alexander never demanded my trust. He never used my past against me. He simply let me be. And maybe, just maybe, I was ready to let him in. A year passed. Daniel had faded into obscurity, a forgotten man in a world that no longer cared about him. His mistress left him. His debts drowned him. And me? I was thriving. My business had grown into something bigger than I imagined. I was no longer just Daniel Carter's ex-wife. I was Evelyn Carter, CEO, investor, and a woman who owned her future. As I stood on my balcony, the city shining before me, I heard a familiar voice. "You did it." Alexander stood beside me. I smiled. "I did." He looked at me, serious. And now, I turned to him, feeling free for the first time. Now, I start truly living,